the attendance. I will add the attendance at the end so everybody can be in it. So the secretary report, I guess we'll skip for now. Nancy's treasurer's report. Nancy, would you like to tell us about the treasury? Are you there, Nancy?
Her box is there, but her picture isn't. And
Okay.
Lee, you're muted.
Lee, you're muted.
Whoops. Yeah, her box on the screen here is just dark and she hasn't said hello.
Lee, would you mind texting her and letting
Yeah.
her know that we started and that
Okay.
we'll move on to Beth's house report.
Alrighty. We have a painting schedule that I want everybody to know about, and I'll send this email out to everybody so you have it in writing. We are gonna start at 8 a.m. on Sunday, August 20th. So the day after the last art sale party. I'm gonna meet Gene and his workers here. He's bringing everything, ladders, paint, brushes, rollers. He's gonna do everything, and sander. We have to have a 50% deposit check in his hand before he starts work. So that's important. He's gonna paint all the white walls, everything that's movable and surrounding up to the ceiling. I wanted to say, oh, he said it's gonna take about 3 days total because he's also gonna be doing a lot of sanding for free for us, which is wonderful. And I just wanna say thank you to Stacy and Nancy for volunteering to come back then and paint the floors. Anybody else who wants to help is more than welcome because it's a big job. So we're gonna start working on the floors depending on when the painting of the walls are done, either Wednesday, August 23rd or Thursday, August 24th. And I understand that's hard for a lot of members because you're at work, so don't worry about it. You got this. Then the thing about when we paint the floors is because the floors are already painted, we don't have to worry so much about how long it's gonna take the paint to cure because we're not painting on raw wood like we did last year. But I will ask anyone who's planning to come and help install on Sunday, August 27th, Lee's solo show and Michelle's solo shows, we're only gonna wear socks. And then after we install that show, nobody's gonna come back into the gallery until Thursday. And then for sure the floors are gonna be dry and perfect. I also wanted to just remind members about the alarm system. We are paying a pretty penny for it. And we have to arm it. So if anybody has any questions about the alarm or concerns about the alarm, let me know. I will explain that we don't have strong enough internet right now to reach the back door. So if you're coming in from the back, the motion center will set the alarm off, but don't panic. You have plenty of time to disarm it. It's just loud, but there's no fire trucks coming, you don't have to worry. And then sitting duties, again, a friendly reminder that it's really important that the gallery is kept clean, that if you see garbage or recycling, please take it out. And if you do take it out, please try and lock that back gate. I've been working with the Prodigy company about getting that gate fixed because it is very hard. It is very hard to lock, but we've had people coming in the past, living in the backyard. So it's really important to keep that gate locked. And so the same thing, like if you see that the windows are dirty or the carpet needs to be vacuumed, just like you would with your own home, just jump in and do it. And otherwise, hopefully the next sitter that comes in, it's sparkling clean and they don't have to do anything. As far as Prodigy Management Company, again, I'm trying to address about the lock and the gate. We're still having serious issues with the restaurant next door and their grease dumpster. And again, I'm trying to address that. There's a sewer pipe in the basement that seemed to be leaking, but I went down there today and it's dry. So again, Prodigy is aware of it. They have photographs. They're going to have somebody come and take a look at it. I'm also going to address with Prodigy the situation we have with the pipes downstairs because I really want to have a goal that we stop washing brushes in the kitchen sink because we have a slop sink in the basement And when anybody's here, I will show you how to turn the pipes on and off. And hopefully Prodigy will jump in and fix that for us. It's not a big deal. And then just, I know nobody wants to do this and they probably won't do it, but the basement after that flood really needs to be swept. It's really filthy. And I've done it a few times after the floods and it kind of sucks, but you know, if anybody wanted to volunteer to help do that, that'd be awesome, but it's not that important.
Is it a dry sweeping?
Yeah, try sweep. So that's it.
Okay. Is Nancy here?
Her
I'm
box
texting
disappeared.
her. I'm
What's that?
texting with her and she's having problems with her Zoom. She's trying to get in and her mic's, it's like, I don't know, it's almost like I don't know, she just said, it seems to be some kind of different version and she's trying to get in.
I set it so that no one has to be admitted. You should be able to come in without having to be admitted by me. So that can't be the problem. So
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
It could be an internet connection.
They updated their terms and conditions also, relating to AI. And I had to log in differently, so I don't know if that may be related to it. I don't know.
Okay. All right, well, in lieu of Nancy's report, we'll just move on for now.
Really
And then-
quickly, she can see and hear us. We just hear or see her.
Okay,
Well, it sounds like it's a video problem or the camera on her computer or something.
okay. Well, all right, well, we'll just move on for now. I'm sorry. We had set it up because they were having a hard time hearing, just to be like a lot closer. So I wish it was a wide angle. Anyways, all right, so I'm gonna go through the action review next, and maybe Nancy's tech problems will solve by the end. So the gallery painting, which Beth already addressed, those payments are due now, so please send those to Nancy as soon as possible. Sessa was voted back into membership after last meeting. The vote was sent out and she was approved. Lee, if you want to talk about the series show.
Well, yeah, I sent everybody everything, as you even put on the date, 7/31, thank you, and resent it again yesterday. So the image deadlines are due tomorrow, and then the artwork not until later in September. So all of that is in your email, so take a look at that. If you have any other questions, you can reach out.
Lee, I have one question. I noticed somewhere that you said work should arrive between 2 dates in September. What happens if they get the work earlier? Can we send it earlier, or we should stick to that week?
That was the directions we were given by the gallery.
Okay,
That was the window they requested, sort of like when we have calls for art, right? We ask people to send within a 3-day window and the times that were open. So I'm assuming that's exactly what they've done.
okay.
So,
Thank you.
and then later on, I'll talk to you all more about, you'll have to make the arrangements to call and get your work picked up, but I just felt like one thing at a time.
Lee, do you want us to also send you the information so that you know who sent it and
You can, that would be great, because then I could check off and follow up with people. Some people have already, and if some have already sent things and not copied me, just let me know you sent it, and then I can kind of keep track of that. That would be very helpful.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, I missed that date.
She sent it.
It's today. Yeah,
Well, but really quickly, sorry to interrupt. The deadline for series images is today, and then tomorrow is the deadline for images to Monica. If you want to be on the grid of the group show art grids she makes, if you want to be included in that, that deadline's tomorrow.
Excuse me, that's for the 50th anniversary show, isn't it?
Yes, not for a series or
And
anything.
there is, in addition, that was down on F in the monthly meeting, but also Monica for 8/13 would like pictures and profiles for the membership profile PR that she's doing. She's rolling out in succession throughout the 50th year. So both of those are due, but they're two separate things. So if you'd like featured as a profile, and or you'd like to have your piece in the collage.
Thank you. I
Okay.
forgot about profile.
Just a reminder also that, Kate, we will be going over, the member contract. She sent out an email, before she left for Australia for the summer. And, she's gonna be back, very soon, and the contract, we're gonna go over that sometime after, the 1st of September. So please do respond to her email so that she has all the information that she needs to begin a discussion about like contract, membership duties, et cetera. Yeah,
Would it be possible to get that email resent? I think it got buried because it was then attached to some other something, and I know I have not responded to it, and I think I've struggled to find it when I went back to try to get it.
Lee, is it possible for you to resend the email from Kate? Thank you.
I was
Thank
just
you.
gonna say I'll do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, the next thing was, that I think probably Nancy may have want to address, but she applied for a grant that, has to do with the panel that we were discussing regarding the 50th anniversary show. So we were discussing having an art historian talk and also a panel happen, in conjunction with something else that Reese is going to talk about later in the meeting. We've decided to move that panel to 2024 and possibly the art historian talk also to 2024 because the grant is about that 2024, is for 2024 and not for 2023. So we may be able to get funding for it and then pay the panelists, which would be great. So, so that's where that's at. Business updates. So Iris, if you want to talk about the 50th anniversary progress.
Well, the main thing I've been doing, which has not been that, maybe I should be doing much more at this point, but since February, I've been working on collecting names, and I've forgotten what the number is, but I think I sent it around to at least a couple of people recently. I think Monica and Nancy, and I think there are over 50 names on it. So, and I think we'll fill the gallery up with former members. The question is whether I wanted to keep, combing through and trying to get more people, but we certainly have enough so that we can feel we're representing and actually a good friend of mine, Sylvia Rosenberg, is one of the founding members, and she's going to be in it. And she was even talking about coming to Chicago for the show. And Chieko Yuki has said that she wants to come from Japan for the show. So I need to get back in touch with Chieko. But anyway, I think we have enough people. So my only guilt would be that if there are more people out there that I haven't combed carefully enough because I've been distracted with my other things. But we certainly have more than enough people for the show. So. And my inclination at the moment is to encourage people to send things that are no more than 24 inches wide, but I'm fully prepared to hang salon style. So I don't want to, I think it's better if we have a variety of sizes rather than everything is the same size. So I'm just going to say, encourage people to send something no wider than 24 inches, but just check with me if they want to send something bigger. So, and I probably would okay it unless there are not a lot of them. So
I have a question about that. How would you feel about local Chicago members having a little bit more room?
well, bigger pieces, is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
maybe like 36 or something, just having a little bit
Well,
more.
anyone who wants to send a bigger piece can just tell me and I'll probably okay it. So I just want, if everyone says they want to have big pieces, but even that, I feel I can hang in that gallery, whatever we get, you start hanging salon style and you can really pack the walls. So I'm not worried about being able to, a lot of people are from out of town and they aren't going to want to send such big pieces because they have to pay for the shipping and whatnot. So I'm not too worried about the sizes, really. In fact, I was hesitant about even making any size limitations. I just don't want any huge piece that overwhelms and dominates the vision of the gallery. But judging from looking at, I sent you all around, I don't know if anyone looked at it, a video from our 40th anniversary show. We had a very nice video of that, and it really showed the walls and what was in it was from the Damon Gallery, and had it a little bit at the end of a of some talking that we did. So that's on YouTube. I can send it around again if people want to look at it.
Iris, do you have dates that you've sent to people yet about?
I know what the dates are, but I haven't, that's where I'm feeling remiss. All the people that I actually, and some of them have written to me saying, what are the dates? When do we, but it's still at least over a month off. So I wasn't feeling so bad about it, but I'll get that out today or tomorrow. It really should be out to everyone about when the work has to be received and, you know, what have you. So.
Iris, did you ask the people that you already contacted to contact people that they think of that you might not have thought of?
That's a good point. I can ask someone, I'll send an email out today saying if this is the list. I've been trying to send, whenever I send an email out, I say, this is the list so far. And some people have written back to me to say, what about so-and-so, so-and-so, and I've tried to contact them. But I will say that this is the list so far. Can you think of anyone who's missing that should be on this list who would like to be in the show? So, but I feel we've got enough representation. So if we just go with what we have, I think we'll have a nice show and a nice history of the gallery. To me, there's more of the point, if we did a gorgeous catalog for our 40th, which I have a copy of here, and whether we should be doing something more like that, I don't know. I haven't been doing it. So, and that's a big project to try to put together a printed out catalog. So, but I'll send some pictures around from the 40th catalog after this meeting is over, so you see what I'm talking about.
If anyone wants to take on that project, if you could contact Iris, that would be awesome.
Okay, that would be good. I've got a lot on my agenda right now with my own personal life. I'm moving, I sold my apartment. So what I want to do is get the PR and the names of everyone, and I want to hang the show. But those are the two things I'm really interested in doing and I would like to do. But taking on a bigger side of it, I don't want to take on my own anyway. So.
Okay. So Nancy, I see you are there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we see you.
Great.
You want to give us the treasurer's report?
Sure. Let me see, find it now that I did send it to everybody, so so you'll have it if you want to look over it more. Right, let's see. Okay.
Nancy,
Yeah.
Jim walked in, so can we wait a second for her and Stacy to get back? Thank you.
This is the problem with being like right.
I assume.
Okay, you ready?
No, not quite.
Terry's coming back, but you, I mean, she can hear you.
Well, here's.
Okay. So so far in the 1.5 months into this fiscal year, we've brought in $3173 and spent $11,607. So the difference is $8,434. The balance at the beginning of this fiscal year was $22,302. Now it's $14,415. So as you can see, we need to bring in some money. Dues bring in about $1,000 a month. Most people have not started paying their dues for this year very well.
Sorry, Nancy, can you speak
I'm sorry, what?
Can you speak a little bit louder? Is that possible?
I'll try. Does that work?
Yes.
Okay. So dues bring in about $1,000 a month. So far, there haven't been a lot of folks paying their dues. So yeah, jump on that. Illinois Arts Funds is going to give us $3,900, but we probably won't get that till around December. Affiliate dues should bring in about $3,500. So far, 5 people have paid. I expect probably 15, so I'm going to remind them. The assessment for the painting job in August is coming right up. So far, only 4 people have paid, so you know that's another thing. And then the big thing that's coming up is all this donated stuff in the art party, and we have no idea how much that will bring in. Stacy has high hopes, and I'm hoping she's right. So anyway, that's that's where we stand right now. In terms of grants, like I said, we got the Illinois Arts Grant, $500 more than last year, $400, I guess. DCASE we did not get. The Illinois Creative Recovery B2B grant told us they were not giving us that because we made too much money in 2021. But then they wrote back and said they're looking over everything again, and they'll let us know finally. So who knows? Maybe something will come through on that. Let's see. We got the Heart Prince Charitable Fund for $2,500 that you know about. People's Gas has a grant that I'm going to apply for, and then Stacy mentioned this 12,000 grant from the Artist Run Chicago Fund that's run out of the Hyde Park Art Center, that I'm feeling positive about, and we'll hear in December about that. So that's it.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Next is me. We have a fundraiser coming up. And I would like it to not just be me here. So I would love for anyone who wants to help. There actually isn't much for us to do, like as far as transactions go, because it's all going to be through the auction website and through that app. So that will be nice. There will be no handling of money or any of that, or keeping track of these things. That all go through the website. So it's mostly just to come and have fun if you want to bring food donations. But the most important thing I think for members is to promote the fundraiser to all of the people that you know. It's remote too, so anyone who is not in the area can also donate and participate. So I will send out a little flyer that you can text to people. I've sent it to a few people, I think, just to get some feedback, but I'll send it out. You can email it to people, you can text it to people. People can scan that if you want to print it out within like a local coffee shop or anything like that. I really do need your help as far as spreading the fundraiser. So, and a friend of mine who is an aficionado of 80s and 90s party music is going to be curating and being a big speaker into the gallery, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So it should be fun. Maybe, you know, spontaneous dancing, I don't know, but it should be good. So
Stacy, when exactly is the party part, in the gallery part?
it's next weekend. Yeah. Next weekend. So coming right up.
Oh, weekend?
The whole week. It's going to be the 18th and 19th, 5 to 9 at the gallery. But I'm going to open the online bidding, and I can let you know when that happens. But I'm going to open the online bidding as soon as all of the work is cataloged, which Beth and I, and probably Paul, because he likes me, are going to be doing tomorrow. He's the fastest typer, so. But we have over 150 pieces, which is amazing. So that's a lot of work to sell. So even if we sell it for a small amount of money, we'll be in pretty good shape, I think. So it's up to you guys to spread it though. So next up is Raisa.
All right. Well, yeah. So couple of things for the artist talk for our group members show. Right now, what we're hoping for is to do that in person on Saturday, October 14th during gallery hours. So it's not, somebody has to come and stay later. That was Monica's suggestion. I thought it was really good to just use those hours. And I've done this before. Everybody who would like to be a part of that, and that is anybody who is a part of the show, really gets a few minutes to talk, and we would put it online. It can go on Facebook Live. It can go, save it. It can go on YouTube later. It's just a way to kind of give everybody a chance to talk about what their work means and how, they feel, and participation with the gallery and with the space. And it's just a nice way for people to talk about their art, which you don't always get a chance to do during openings and things like that. So I'm really hoping everybody comes and wants to participate. If we end up, Iris, having a lot of people who are out of town who do want to do this, we could figure out how to do a Zoom version of it. But I thought it would be nice to do it in person when possible, because you invite then the community back in to learn a little bit more about the organization, you know, set up chairs and maybe people can talk through their work and whatever. So depending on, you know, who wants to do it, it can be virtual or in person, but you know, personally, I guess I'm leaning towards in person and still recording it, and it can go up later. But that's the thought for the artist talk. If anybody has any other thoughts about that, please. Yeah.
Actually, the video of our images from our 40th anniversary show, which is on YouTube, ends up with a talk, just like what you're talking about. Sherry's there, I'm there, Carolyn King is there, and we are sitting there, and there's a little audience there. And I don't think our talks weren't on but the fact that that was part of the 40th anniversary thing. So anyway, I'll send it around to everyone again. It's on YouTube, so it's seeable, but we did do that for the 40th as well.
Well, and that's a great thing, is we could also put it on flyers, you know, so when we get to that stage where we're putting together the flyer for the show, it's sometimes nice to say like opening reception, this day and time, and then come back for the artist talk. And we put it on there so people know that that's another time. I've had that happen. I'm sure, you know, others with friends who can't make an opening, but they really want to go and support you. So it's just another way to get people to come if they, you know, for whatever reason, can't make it to that opening.
And also, just to go along with that, I find whenever I have a show, my friends will not come just to come see the show. I have to set a time. This Thursday at so-and-so, I will be at the gallery, and then people will come. They only want to come if you're there. So.
Right. And they want to come because they want to hear about your work. I mean, sometimes, you know, it is nice to drink and socialize and stuff, but it's just another way to kind of bring an additional component to the community and the conversation around art. So that's that one. And then in addition, yes.
Sorry, Risa, Diane.
Oh, when you're talking about the artist talk and having some people do it virtually, would it work to have like something set up where you don't have to have a specific time, but people who can't make it here and want to talk about their work, we have a continuous video? I don't know, it's just a thought.
No, that's a good suggestion, Diane, because what I thought worked well before in one that I did was people who couldn't come could send in a write-up, and whoever wanted to facilitate could speak to their art and we could show it, you know, like we could go and point to their work and read what the artist would want us to say if they couldn't participate. That's another thing.
Did you say it was October 15th?
I think it's the 14th. It's that Saturday.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So then, in addition to that, we've had the conversation about a panel discussion and what that might look like, and it's separate than the artist talk. So I've reached out to AIR Gallery and Hera Gallery. So between the three of us, ARC, AIR, and Hera, we are the three oldest women's cooperatives in the nation. So AIR is in New York, and they are, I guess they were founded in 72, and we were 73, and Hera is 74. And so Hera is definitely interested to be a part of the panel discussion, not knowing much. And I know, like Sessa, there was talk that maybe you had reached out to some people. And so not knowing what anybody else is doing, but just to try to kind of see if that's something people were interested in. We could start forming this around what has the last 50 years been and where are we going in the future.
Excuse me, are you interested in having any more personal contact with AIR? Because an old friend of mine is a member of AIR, and AIR has shown at ARC. They had a group show at ARC, and again, I could reach out to her. She's a current member, so I've shown it AIR.
Sure. I mean, I reached out and I got in touch with Christian, who is, I don't know who Christian is, but Christian's whoever answers info at AIR Gallery. That's Christian. And I just kind of threw this out there like, hey, you know, if you're interested with Hera has already said that they're in. I also was thinking of reaching out to like Beata at Woman Made and like any other place people might think of. Yeah.
So you're talking a lot about some of the stuff that Sessa was working on, and the two of you would probably be a great pair to work on this. We did pick up on that idea and made it part of this grant that we're writing for the Hyde Park. They'll give us $4,000 for a special project, and it has to happen in next year, not this year.
Yeah.
And if we get that, which it seems like we should, it's sort of written just for us, it seems. If we get that, then we can pay the participants, and we can pay for a videographer and so forth. We can really make it a bigger spiel. So I would say don't try to do all of that now. Now having some sort of panel thing now might be fine. But
no, this was everything I've talked to everybody about has been for next year.
oh,
So
okay.
the understanding is there's no time for anybody right now to do anything right now. This year looks pretty packed for me, and it sounds like everybody else. So the thought was this would be kind of like a Q1 2024 idea. And literally I just threw it out. Like I said, I threw it out to Hera and AIR just to see, are they interested? And it sounds like they are. They would like to be a part of this panel discussion. I've not offered to pay anybody because I didn't know that was even an option. So this is just seeing who's interested. I was going to say, one thing I had mentioned to the person at AIR was that I plan on going out to our series show and in New York. And so I don't know who else might be planning on going there, but maybe a couple of us field trip over and meet the people at AIR. And so that was something I was going to throw back out there to that person. So, you know, that's just kind of up in the air. And, you know, I don't know, Nancy, where did you say you were applying for a grant? Was that Hyde Park?
The Hyde Park folks are managing this grant, but it's a bigger grant from I can tell you in a minute exactly who it is. I can send you a copy of the grant and show you exactly what I've written into it. It is, let's see. So it's an artist-run Chicago fund, which interestingly abbreviates to ARC Fund. That's who's running it.
There you go.
And seeks to award 25 $8,000 unrestricted grants to artist-run platforms in Chicago. So platforms like us. Also, you can apply for an additional $4,000 project-specific grant, which is run by Art Design Chicago Project Grant that examines aspects of Chicago's art and design, past and present, and or the city's broader history. It's funded by the Terra Foundation of American Art. The awarded projects will be part of the Foundation's Art Design Chicago initiative, a citywide collaboration that highlights the city's unique artistic heritage and creative communities. As part of the ADC initiative, artist-run spaces will join a network of over 50 cultural organizations receiving increased national promotion in 2024 through the Terra Foundation, and 15 of those grants will be awarded. So it seems kind of perfect for us.
Yeah. Well, and I also like the idea of reaching out outside of just Illinois. You know, like if we get these other participants, we've got New York, we've got Providence, Rhode Island, we can start talking about women in art from a more national perspective.
To the extent that this grant is looking at Chicago history, though, we might want to load it with Chicagoans and then throw in a couple national people.
Well, again, and Sessa, I see you said there was a list of people you reached out to. I've just started here just like a week ago. So, you know, we can definitely add on. There is a woman I thought could be a good facilitator. Her name is Sierra McKissick. She works at the Hyde Park Art Center. She's a curator there. She's done a lot of different community outreach things there. I'm working with her for that, not just a pretty face, or they've got a show there that I've been working with her on. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, whoever would like to join in helping to plan the panel and share information. But if we do want to do something in, at the beginning of 2024, we should probably just kind of maybe tighten up what it is that we really want to discuss and who we want to invite and what we have, options for. But it's nice that at least a couple of people seem interested. So,
Yeah, I'm happy to help, and I'll send you and Sessa what I wrote for this grant.
okay, awesome. Thank you. And then finally, kind of piggybacking on this is, an opportunity to show more collaboratively internationally. So I've been applying to a few residencies and got into two. One I'm definitely doing, and that's a month in Finland. But the second one that I don't know if I'm actually going to do is in Serbia. But what was nice is that they had a show at this Yellow Cube Gallery on the heels of that residency. And in my conversation with them, I mentioned that I'm a part of ARC, and I sent them our website and who we are. And I said, would you be interested in doing a collaboration with ARC? We're celebrating 50 years. And what if we did an international show at this Yellow Cube? I've stalked them a lot on Instagram and just online, and they seem open to that. So they were really interested in maybe some sort of something. So nothing concrete, but I wanted to throw that out there to everybody as well as just, something else to kind of continue to look at an option for us. So that's what I got.
That would be wonderful, because I think some of my favorite things over the years have been these trips to Japan, trips to Paris, whatnot, wonderful opportunities that I've had through ARC, which have been great.
Yeah.
Sounds very, very exciting. Thank you so much. Very exciting. Next is Elise, talking about the Women's Forum. Do you want me to?
Hi. I think no, I'm okay. We've mentioned this before, but it's going to be Thursday, October 19th, and we are hosting the International Women's Forum Ladies in Chicago. And if you Google it, you can see who they are. I've been kind of trying to focus in on everything about them myself, but they are high-level women executives in leadership that formed 49 years ago, so kind of close to us. And their whole mission is supporting women and women's organizations and trying to get women to men's status, basically, is what I can glean off of it. And what they want us to do is have a program where we explain the mission and history of ARC, and then and it's during our 50th year anniversary, so our show is up, and that's how I kind of arranged that, so they could meet us and see all of our. So I think it's Leah's going to be doing a little PowerPoint, and then we'll have a little, not gigantic long, maybe half an hour, 45-minute presentation, and then it would be kind of a meet and greet thing with these women, with the hopes that maybe they'll like us and have some connections or support for us. So I'm really excited about that. It was through my girlfriend hooked us up, and
what's the group's name?
Is what?
What is the name of the organization?
International Women's Forum. And if you really go through it, I mean, they gave an award to Coretta Scott King, Hillary Clinton. This is extremely high level, according to who I've said this before, but she was on Obama's cabinet. So it's really, it's a good connection for us. And actually, this one of the ladies, Edith, came in when Lee was there, right? Yeah, and spoke with Lee. She liked you, Lee. And I think it should be a very lovely event. And so we'll have to do some planning. And yeah, that's it. It's October 19th, Thursday.
It's 5 p.m. is the meet and greet and 6 p.m. is the presentation.
Okay, or either way, if you want to do the presentation first, however you want to do it. I mean, I'm open, I'm not very good at this presentation stuff, but
Yeah.
I hooked you up with some really high
You
level
did hook
stuff,
us
so
up.
we're okay.
I've also linked the International Women's Forum in the newsletter, so if you want to check it out, you can go into the newsletter and click through. And it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting.
They're very big in Washington DC, I think, but they're all over.
Thanks, Elise.
No problem.
Very exciting.
Yes, I'm excited.
All right, and next is Sessa talking about archives.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
So I reached out to Ryerson again, and they have to come and see the new archives that are in the basement before we drop them off, or they'll pick them up while they're there. I don't know yet. Basically, I'll just have to organize what's in the basement, and they come by, check it out, and then it makes its way to the rest of the collection at Ryerson. And they've converted a couple of the cassette tapes, and I haven't listened to them yet. So they emailed me a link, and I believe I requested, who was it from? Who's the filmmaker that was part of ARC?
Who was the filmmaker? Nancy Bechtel.
Thank you. So I picked out some cassette tapes that she was on. I wanted to check that out. And then what else we're doing? That's about it.
Okay. Okay, so,
Sessa, you need help going through the archives in the basement?
Rebecca, so they need to come upstairs, and then Rebecca and I are going to go through them.
Okay, that's fine. That's, as long as you have help, that's fine.
And yeah, it'll be fine. Thank you, though.
Okay.
yes, Sessa and Rebecca have been working in tandem on the archive stuff. So, this is just step one. I think earlier this week we met, right? Was it earlier this week?
Mm-hmm.
So, and on that note, on behalf of Rebecca, who is not here now, but she is going to be starting a new committee that is formed, focusing on finding opportunities for group shows for all of us. So she has started reaching out, looking into art fairs, gallery exchanges. She has been in contact with Race, I believe. There's been a correspondence. Regarding the Yellow Cube Gallery exchange. So I think this is a new opportunity, exciting and fun opportunity for us to do like relationships with other nonprofit groups and start branching out a little bit more than just Chicago. So all of these things are really exciting and good news. So does anybody have any questions about any of that stuff so far? Okay, so we're gonna move on to new business, which is, this is gonna be a tricky conversation. There's no mincing words. So there was a issue that came up regarding a piece in Michelle Williams' show. The executive board met, have a new policy in place, and Lee is going to discuss that policy.
Okay, Nancy beautifully wrote this out, and so I'm going to go ahead and read this. Policy for educating conflicts around contested pieces of art. While we, the members at ARC Gallery Embrace Free Expression, understand that art can sometimes create conflict and do not condone censorship, we also understand that artwork might nevertheless be deemed questionable for exhibition for a variety of reasons. This policy attempts to create a framework for decision-making when conflict arises. For outside artists, solo, juried, or curated shows, our contract states, ARC Gallery reserves the right to reject any and all artwork that is deemed by its board of directors to be unsuitable due to unprofessional presentation a long list of what that could be, or work that is counter to the mission of the gallery. However, a conflict arising around the artwork by an ARC member can present a more complicated issue. Although it is expected to be an unlikely event, concerns might conceivably arise around issues with the professional presentation of the work, content that conflicts with the mission of the gallery, or work that is felt to be disrespectful to another member or other artists. For resolution of these conflicts, the policy rests on the following tenets. All members have the right to be heard and respected. ARC was founded on the ideas of community, consensus, and equity. Community implies respect for diverse opinions. Consensus implies agreement among members of the group. Equity implies respect for diversity and inclusion, particularly the avoidance of harm. ARC is a private organization which has the right to represent itself according to its particular vision or mission. Based on these tenets, the policy is as follows. A member has the right to challenge exhibition of a piece of work if she strongly feel it does not meet the above tenets. Any individual members whose work is challenged has the right to hear objections and present their case to the concerned persons in an attempt to find resolution of the issues. Respect and resolution are the key goals at this stage. If no resolution can be found, consensus then becomes the guiding principle. The individual's concerns will be presented to the executive board, which is convened in order to reach a final decision. The executive committee may make an executive decision, or it may convene the entire membership based on its tenets to reduce potential for harm. The decision of the executive committee is binding on the individual and the group. The decision will be presented to the individual member. So we've been working on a lot of this all week with back and forth messages and discussions. So I don't know where we want to lead this conversation next. If, this was kind of spurred on by a piece that Michelle was going to be putting in her solo show.
The timeline of events was that in working on the website, came across Michelle Williams' statement about her piece called Crack Eyes. I looked up the piece, which is on her member page, and I contacted her directly. So I'm the one who contested this piece of artwork. That there was not a resolution between us. I brought it to the executive board, and the board made the decision that Crack Eyes is not going to be in Michelle Williams' solo show. That's where it stands at this point. And I have put on the schedule that Michelle has a right to respond to this policy enforcement. So I'm gonna turn the camera to her to discuss that.
Hi, everybody. Well, what I want to say first off is it was never my intent to hurt anybody or offend anybody, and that is not what the piece is about or what it was designed to do. And so I'm very sorry if that did happen.
Excuse me a moment. Could someone please bring the computer in closer? Because if she's going to speak, we might as well be able to hear it. And at least I'm having trouble hearing what she's saying.
Okay, I'll just say it over. So I am very sorry if my piece offended anybody. That was never the intent. It never has offended anybody before. And I am sorry for that. I do want to say is something we've discussed before, and that there's a lot of issues that come up nowadays about all kinds of subjects, which I won't go into. But I think in the future, which there hasn't been in 50 years, according to Iris, but if I may say in the future, if there is an issue, I think the piece needs to be presented to the group, and the group needs to talk about it in person so that everybody can understand what each other's feelings are and talk about it. Like for one person just to say, well, this is what I feel. Why do you feel that way? What does it mean to you? I mean, there needs to be a much larger discussion. But that being said, the board has decided that, and, you know, I have no choice but to go with it, so I will, out of respect to the group. But what I want to say is last night I received the most hateful, disturbing, mean email communication from somebody that I've ever had in my whole life, and I'm old. So last night Sessa sent me something that was so disturbing, that is totally unacceptable. So while I realize that what you just talked about in our, what do you want to call those? Our procedures, our rules, it goes against everything that you guys just put out. So I just want to say it was super upsetting to me and other people. Well, anyway, I'll leave it at that. I don't think that we promote hate, and I don't think that we promote disunity without a real discussion. So that's what.
Well, this is your opportunity for that discussion to happen.
No, the piece needs to be in person. Everyone needs to be here in person, and that's how you have a discussion. Over the internet does not really work. It's incomplete. Because what I sent to Sessa and her reaction was like diametrically opposed. So it doesn't make sense to do it via community, which I didn't want to do via email.
Excuse me a moment. I don't want to, believe me, I don't want to make things any worse. I was mortally offended by that email that Sessa sent. Really, I was. I just want to say that. That's all I'm saying, but that's what I'm saying. I can't stop myself from saying it.
You know what, I have to say, I have to say that we have to figure out a better way to communicate, but because I was personally very upset by that email. It really struck a chord, and I know Sessa, and I like her very much, and I was just surprised that that kind of venomous spewed. It did not sit well with me.
When did this email go out?
So there have been several conversations that have happened in various threads. And Sessa, I do believe, are you here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you like to speak for yourself?
You know what? I don't agree with the piece, and that was my response. Plain and simple.
There was email correspondence, which I think, Sessa, did you send to everyone?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
I sent out Michelle's last email to me, and then my last email to Michelle.
One of the issues that Michelle sent out the email without sending her response to Sessa, which Sessa was responding to. So there was a response that you sent that was equally offensive. So I think that she was responding to you. And so I think that's the whole story.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Well,
I sent her an explanation of my piece. She sent back this hateful, really not acceptable response. And I sent it to the board because I wasn't going to respond to that kind of information.
Right. But I think that sending that response without the context was a little misleading, is all I'm saying.
What was the context? Did I share?
You didn't send the email that was sent to Sessa that she was reacting to.
Oh, I can easily send that out.
She already sent it out. But I think that the thing that I would like to separate here is the tone of the conversation and the way that we speak to each other. I think that is something that we need to address as a group. Absolutely. I do think that is a separate issue than this and then this piece. So those are two things in my mind that I think there is the way that we speak to each other internally. There's the way that we speak externally as a gallery and as a cohesive group. Those two things should not cross over. And one of the things that was brought up in the email that you sent out, that Sessa was responding to, is that you were surveying random Black people coming into this gallery about that piece. And I find that
I was what?
surveying people,
Surveying?
asking people of a certain race who come into our gallery, and you're speaking from a platform of our gallery. In my mind, that is entirely inappropriate. And so I don't agree with the way that Sessa spoke. I do agree with what she said.
Which is what?
That as a gallery, we have to be clear in what our mission is, and we need to be really careful about how we present ourselves.
Stacy, I can't stop but say this. That's totally true, but we cannot talk to each other the way that email of Stacy's was sent. How can we talk to each other like that? It's just, nothing justifies that. And I wouldn't make false equivalence, honestly.
Can I say something too? I mean, I also think that there would have been kinder ways to say that. But the fact that that's what people will think, a lot of people will think when they see this piece, needs to be out there so that Michelle understands why it's such a problem. I mean, Sessa's not wrong in that people will think that. And to have said it a little more, I mean, maybe we were all too gentle. I don't know. Sessa was not gentle. And maybe that's okay to not be gentle sometimes about hard stuff.
And it's not okay to talk to another member like that. It can never be okay, in my opinion. That's all I'm going to say.
I think that it is really important for us to address how we speak to each other. And that is something that I would like to bring up in the biannual meeting for us to discuss at length. But that is not what we are discussing here right now. We are discussing whether or not Michelle Williams' piece is going to be in her solo show, and the decision by the executive board and the policy that has come after that. So I would like to not get off track and to stay on that issue for now.
Okay, I have a question. I don't know if it's most, but only the executive board got to see this piece. Shouldn't the whole membership be able to see that piece and weigh in on what they're saying or what they think?
The piece is on Michelle's members page for everyone to see, as well as the statement that includes the title of Crack Eyes for the upcoming show.
Okay, if it is, I would have liked to have somehow gotten some kind of email to say it is there and this is the piece that's in question. And just to get feedback from all the members. I mean, I understand the executive board makes the decision, which seems okay with me, but shouldn't we all as members kind of know what's going on would be, yeah, that's all I have to say.
The reason we wrote it so that the executive board could make the decision is to try to avoid pain and suffering by the whole group if possible, to work it out privately if possible. And that didn't work in this case.
It's a good idea to protect the membership when it involves all the membership. Not that the membership votes and makes a decision, but we should understand what is going on in the gallery, because all of a sudden you get an email saying this is so. And I really don't think that as members, we're left out of that. Not that we make the decision, but we should know.
Well, I think
because this is all news to me.
That is what is happening right now. That is exactly what is happening now.
Well, actually, I was gonna let the buck stop with Sessa's email to me and sending it to the board. Now I'm like, I feel like I need to send both my communication to Sessa and her communication to me, to everybody.
That's what Cecil did already this morning.
She said, I don't have.
Teresa had her hand up, and so did Nancy also.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if it's okay, I'll just hop in and say that I really strongly second Diane's sentiment here. I think that, first of all, I actually don't even know who's on the executive board, so I don't know who you guys are. And so that would be nice to know, but I do agree with Diane that what it sounds like happened was something that probably should have been definitely shared with the members, all of us, including an image prior to the emails that were sent today, because I did see those emails and I actually kind of have to second Iris's sentiment on this, that I was not knowing any of the behind the scenes. I was really offended by the email that I read. It seemed like because again, I had no idea what the context was. I had no idea what the image was, but you know, we did talk about how do we communicate as a group and what does it mean to be a part of a women's cooperative. And to me, we should be looking at it collectively. If the executive team wants to, if an issue about anybody's work is brought up, personally, I just would like to weigh in that I think it should be brought to the entire group for feedback that the executives could then take and assess as they make their decision. And that's what I would have preferred. And that would be my hope moving forward.
Makes sense to me.
And it's never happened in 50 years.
Does anyone else have anything to say?
I'd like to say something. I think that all the members have the right to hear all of this. But initially, this was discussed in a smaller group a year ago around the same piece and the same consensus was come to. And it was kept in a small group because we wanted to respect Michelle's anonymity, and but I ended up making a decision as the executive director, which was on the same grounds pretty much that Stacy made the decision. So
Sharon, can you move in a little closer so we can hear you on the, just, you know.
So what I said was, the same issue came up and someone had brought it to our attention. And with not wanting to talk behind Michelle's back and respect her anonymity and not wanting to turn the entire gallery against her, in actually this kind of a situation where people respond in various and sundry ways, we made a decision. And I informed her of that decision. And yeah, so when Stacy first brought this to my attention, I then forwarded her a text that I'd sent to I'd sent to Nancy. And it was pretty much the same thing that Stacy had told her in her discussion with Michelle. So the point of us not bringing it before the entire membership was not to try to create, you know, a groundswell of animosity towards Michelle. At both the time that I spoke to her, I didn't feel that she understood where we were coming from, but she respected our decision. So, and then when I saw this issue come up with Stacy, then I forwarded an email because Nancy had sent me the information about an upcoming meeting, and it was around the same issue. So I then forwarded Stacy what my experience had been a year ago. with the same piece, pretty much the same issue, and my response was pretty much the same as Stacy's had been. So I mean, we were trying not to gang up on Michelle, and we were trying to be discreet and not drag everybody into it. Now, that doesn't mean that members don't have a right to know, but we just dealt with it the way we felt was best.
So I think it could have been dealt with matter of fact. This is a piece, weigh in, as opposed to thinking you're going to protect the membership. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to create animosity. You present it in a matter of fact way, because I think all members deserve to know what goes on, and not behind the scenes people who decide, well, we don't want to inflame the situation. You don't have to. You just have to present the information matter of fact.
So I would like to say that is what is happening now, and this all happened very quickly. I reached out to Michelle personally. I didn't have a lot of conversations. I just reached out to her while I was working on the website. I asked her to not have the show. When she did not accept that, we brought it to the board. The board is the president, the vice president, the secretary, the treasurer, and the House committees. That is something that's voted on every 2 years and can be voted out. The reason why I did it this way, it's similar to what Sherry said, but I would like to emphasize it was not to protect anyone. It was, for me, in my mind, the pathway of the greatest grace that I could give Michelle. I wanted to have a personal conversation with her so that she could take the piece out without there being any kind of controversy. However, when things are not resolved one-on-one, I believe it's the best to go to the next group. And now we are at the third group, which is the whole membership. The whole membership is now hearing about this for the first time. It was not a long period of time that this went on. It was only about a week, I believe, since I contacted you the first time. I told Michelle in that first call that I respect her. I want her to have a beautiful solo show. And I want her art to be seen. I want the solo show to go off without a hitch. I want all of us to support her. This piece cannot be in the show. That was our conversation. I regret that it rolled out this way, and I hope that the policy in the future can help this to be a more seamless process. And I think that this is something that happens all the time within groups of people that choose to be together. We're going to have to figure out our differences together. I think that some of the policies and some of the ways that we speak to each other can be discussed at greater length during a biannual meeting, but that's where I'm coming from. My hope was that there would be a way for this to roll out that no one would end up getting hurt, that we would all feel supported. That's it. Whether or not I have done that correctly, I don't know. I think it's interesting though that Sherry and I both had the same reaction completely separately without knowing about each other's thing. So there is a continuity here of the way that things are being handled regarding these pieces that can be addressed.
Anyway, when Sherry and I had the conversation, it was a different show, it was a different time period, and it was a slightly different issue. So when I put it in my show, I felt like it was totally appropriate to do. My intent was not to offend anyone. It's never in the past ever offended. But obviously I have no choice but to go with what the board said, which is what I'm gonna do, but nevertheless, nobody's protecting me. Nobody needs, why should I need to be protected? And why is someone in our gallery allowed to talk and treat people like the way that they treated me. She treated me. So I don't think that it should be acceptable. And I appreciate Iris for you speaking up that way because it's not okay. And it feels like it's being said that it's okay because I felt strongly that my piece should be issued. So I feel like it's the behavior is being condoned by the board in the Senate. I don't know what the result of it. I don't know what the outcome of that should be, but it's just never acceptable. We're a group of community, and we should treat each other. And if somebody thinks I was disrespectful because I disagreed, that's a whole other issue. We have the right to disagree, and we have the right to disagree respectfully. And we have the right to treat each other respectfully. And I agree that the whole membership should know, because five or whatever shouldn't be the ones that decide something. And everybody brings their own interpretation to something. And just because somebody has a strong opinion doesn't mean it's not okay. So to be in a show, but I respect the right for the gallery to say it's not going to be in the show. No problem. And I'm sorry that it came to this. And I think it could have been handled better. And it's handled instead, which is we all get together, we have the piece in front of us, we talk about it, what it means to us, and then there's a decision made. And especially if it's happened twice, right? Even though I think that the first context was different, you could construe it as being the same. And that's all I want to say.
Hello?
Right, to ask other people what they think about this, because it's a public thing.
And I would add that if you ask somebody what they think of it, you have to be prepared for what they think of it.
That's right, but Stacey,
And express themselves the way they feel about it. I don't want to see animosity towards Cessa either. You know, because that's, you know, there's ways to discuss all kinds of things, you know, like, you know, members who had COVID and all kinds of things have come up this year that we've been talking about this in terms of how we handle different situations and talk to each other.
You know what? Emails, as much as we love them, there's a lot lost in translation with an email, I have to tell you. So, you know, it's better having a dialogue, and I know there's no getting away from emails, but there is some loss there. Am I wrong?
in-person dialogue.
Yeah.
I just quickly want to respond to Michelle's statement, and that I don't think that the gallery is the platform from which you should be conducting a survey about work. I think that we need to present ourselves as a united front, and that these issues need to be handled internally with respect and communication, of course. So I'm only saying, I am not saying that you can't speak to other people about your piece. You are absolutely free to do so. You can't speak on behalf of ARC Gallery as a person who's watching this gallery when people come in to survey them about your piece. That's not appropriate. That would not be appropriate in any kind of business or a nonprofit. And so that's all I have to say about that part.
Okay, I just think that's another form of censorship, but I'll respect your request.
I think that our issues need to be handled internally when it comes to stuff like this. That's all.
Well, I just would like to say that when you're sitting in the gallery, you're the representative of the gallery. And that's appropriate to ask people coming in. As the representative of the gallery, is this work appropriate? And you would get really honest answers, but to put someone on the spot like that, I don't,
Nobody's on the spot. And they were honest with you.
I think Rudy is trying to say something, so.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You know, when Michelle approached me, she told me the story of a family, etc., etc. So, you know, I didn't see her as coming from any racist place, except that the name was very offensive. The crack eyes, which I wasn't here in America, so forgive me if I traipse all over your sensitivities. So what about just taking the name down and not putting that name? I mean, it's the words that are offensive to everybody. The image, that's her style. Her whole series is that style. If you are offended by the fact that she works in a semi-African way, I mean, I lived in Africa for many years, and that's how Africans portray themselves, by the way. So maybe that's an offensive thing. I don't know where the offense comes from, except for the title.
Rudy, that's exactly what I thought. I didn't see the title originally. I only saw the image. It was only when I then saw the title, I saw, oh, I know what they're talking about. So.
And when Sessa originally called me, emailed me, and I said it's on the webpage, and she didn't see anything. She couldn't even tell what the offensive piece was, which was so interesting to me. And then came up with all this stuff that had nothing to do with my explanation or what the piece looks like. So I don't know what to say. She couldn't tell by just looking at it. So thank you for saying that.
The eyes themselves, as well as the name, are part of a 1980s ad campaign run by conservatives to create funding for the war on drugs. That was really harmful. It created sentencing structures that played out in the most awful of ways. And those two things, the eyes are part of the visual part of the thing. It's not just the name, it is also the eyes that are bloodshot and white.
So I did a lot of research in the last few days, and there was an article in Time magazine, and I'm sorry that I lost the article and I don't have the date, but it said that visuals of drug addicts help, and this is just one article, right? It doesn't mean anything, but visuals of addicts in art help addicts cover. So there's always different slants, right? You can look at any issue from a million different sides, and it doesn't mean that any side is right, but it is about freedom of expression and not squelching creativity and being safe, right? And I understand that we're a gallery and we do want some degree of safety, but what we're talking about is tyranny. And I've got to say, I have a book on it, and you guys could read it if you're interested, but suppression leads to what happened, right? Leads to somebody sending such hateful, terrible response to something that had nothing to do with hate at all, right? It was about recovery and what happened when crack was brought to a place. It was a wonderful place. It had nothing to do with the United States. And everybody's reading, some people are reading stuff into it based on their own experiences, and that's what you do with art. You bring your experiences to the situation. So I don't understand it, and I don't even think we should have this discussion anymore. People said what they said. If the membership wants to say more, then I'm happy to show my piece and anyone in the membership about it. But I think we're beating a dead horse. It is what it is.
I think we do need to end. I don't want to cut anyone off who would like to say anything else. But I have to say, and you can unelect me as president, but this piece is unabashedly racist. I think that I don't think Michelle Williams intended for it to be. I think that she wanted it to be compassionate and empathetic, and it does not come across that way because it is using tropes that are racist. She's using language that is phrasing that it came from a PR campaign in the 80s. So I think if the intent was empathy, that is not what is individually.
To you.
to me, and that is why I spoke to you personally. That is why I had the respect to speak to you personally and privately before any of this happened. So I'm making a stand as myself, and you can get rid of me if you like. But I think that we've got to be careful about how we present ourselves, especially around the 50th anniversary. We're deciding who we want to be for the next 50 years. Who do you want to be in the next 50 years? How do you want to come across as a gallery? We have to decide these things with intention, and that's where it stands. I believe that, does anyone else want to speak? I think something popped up. I didn't see.
Really, I agree with everybody's points. It does sound like, Stacy, I want to just acknowledge that I agree with your decision on this. Having looked at the piece, I do see it as offensive. And to be honest with you, almost more offensive is that whole bit about asking Black people what they thought when they came into that's 100% racist to like single out a group and ask them their thoughts on a piece that speaks about anyway, a difficult situation, but I would agree with the ultimate decision.
Excuse me, I didn't just ask Black people.
That's what you wrote in your email.
To who?
Sessa.
I'd also like to add that in Sessa's email, when people have talked about this, like just take the title off. It is, if you look up like Pickaninny, it is an image that is so steeped in racist visual culture. It's very similar to that.
This is not Pickaninny, this is dreadlocks. Maybe people that are younger don't know what Pickaninny is, but Pickaninny is not dreadlocks. And dreadlocks are widely accepted by white people, Black people, all over the world, and it has to do with Rastas, and it has nothing to do with Pickaninny.
I know what dreadlocks are. I'm just saying, if you look at some images, there's a similarity.
Pickaninny, that's a racist
I'm going to end the meeting here. I think there are a lot of things going forward that we are going to need to deal with as a group. It sounds like there are a lot of things that have been going on for a long time and need to be addressed one by one. And I think that we are all capable of doing that. I think that we have a vested interest in keeping this place alive. And I do think there are a lot of really exciting, really good, and really joyful things that are happening at this gallery right now. We just got written up 5 times this year by New City, including the 3 shows that are up, and we have to end the meeting so that people can get their artwork. But I do think that we don't want to lose the joy that we've created, and we don't want to lose the motivation and the forward momentum that we have worked really, really hard to make happen. So
the new website looks amazing.
Yes, the new website is being transferred right now. Paul and I have been working on this. Been working really hard on the fundraiser, on reaching out to people, on getting new artists, and on making excellent fucking art. So let's end the meeting on that point. I believe in the ability for us to see past our differences and to make a stronger group together than we are separately. So.
Well said.
Well said.
Yeah.
Okay. We move to end the meeting.
I'm going to end the meeting right now. So, okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
everyone.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
We have to say a little.